NHL regular season recap, night 69. First game of the night is the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, and this game was all Canes, dude. Svechnikov comes right back, first goal of the game here. Carrier ties it up, and then in the second, it's all Canes. Stahl, Kotkaniemi, and Bunting in the third. Jarvis and Shea make it 6-1 before Vegas comes back and scores a few, but a 6-3 final here in favor of the Hurricanes. Kochetkov also very good in this game. The Flyers visiting the New Jersey Devils in this game went a little bit differently than some might have expected, at least earlier in the year, but as of right now, the Flyers are rolling and the Devils are a little bit hot and cold, and that continued tonight. The Flyers win this one by a final score of 3-2 in overtime. In the first, Mikey McLeod with the first goal of the game. In the second, it's Paling with 2 and Jesper Bratt with 1. We head to the third, tied at 2, where there's no more goals. And then in the overtime, Jack Hughes with a rough turnover, man. Just a blind backhand pass in his own zone. It goes right to the tape of Owen Tippett. He goes in all alone and buries it on Vitek Vanacek for the 3-2 victory for Philly. Sam Harrison pretty good in this one, 24 of 26. Vitek Vanacek stopping 23 of 26, so identical total shots here. Neither goalie was bad. Sam Harrison, though, of course, the better of the two. A 3-2 final for Philly. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Buffalo Sabres, and I have to show off a quote tweet from this gentleman right here. I don't know him personally, but I just thought this was very fitting to show before the 9-4 shellacking that the Blue Jackets just handed the Sabres. Dahlin scores 30 seconds in. It looks like we're all good. And then it's Gaudreau, Fantilli, Marchenko, Goodbranson, and Corrali before the Sabres scored again with a minute to play in the second period. Devin Levi was brutal. UPL was brutal. This team is brutal. They get outshot by Columbus, dude. I don't know what to say about this team anymore. We thought they were going to make the playoffs. It's not happening. 9-4 final in favor of the Blue Jackets. The St. Louis Blues visiting Tampa Bay, and this game did not go very well for St. Louis. Jordan Binnington got the start. He stops just 18 of 23. Really a weak performance from him, while Vasi stops 28 of 29. Back in the form that we expect Andrei Vasilevsky to be in. In the first period, it's Mikey Eyssimont, Tyler Mott, and Nikita Kucherov all scoring for the Bolts, making it 3-0 after 1. In the second, it's all Bolts again. Kucherov and Hayden Fleury with his first of the year, making it 5-0 after 2. In the third, Nick Paul adds a 6th before Justin Falk scores the first Blues goal of the game, his first of the year as well. It's a 6-1 final in this one. Really, really ugly showing from St. Louis. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Boston Bruins, and they redeemed themselves from last night's game against Pittsburgh, the other black and gold team, with a 4-3 victory in overtime in this one. Kaprizov with a pretty good night, and who else but Marc-Andre Fleury stopping 40 of 43 here. In the first, it's Johansson, and then 2 from Pastrnak, including one with just a second to play. No goals in the second, and in the third, it's Kaprizov, Hartman, and Marchand, making it a 3-3 tie, heads to overtime where Kirill Kaprizov gets his 10th of the season finally. Took a little bit longer than we expected, but nonetheless, here he is. The Wild get the win here, 4-3 in OT. The Bruins continue to collect points up to 19-5-5. The Wild improve to 12-13-4. Again, Marc-Andre Fleury very good in this game. Linus Ullmark 26 of 30. Could have been better, but not the worst game he's had this year. A big win for the Wild nonetheless. The Rangers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs in what ended up being one of the better, in my opinion, games of the night. Two very talented teams, very high-firing, and that was pretty much the case here tonight. A 5-2 final for the Rangers, no goals in the first. Both goalies pretty good in this one. Shesterkin 31 of 33, Jones 31 of 35, but hard to blame him for some of these despite the sub-900 save percentage. For the goal scorers, in the second, it's Zibanejad, Matthews, and Lafreniere. In the third, Matthews with his second of the game, and then Schneider, Panarin, and Zibanejad once again with his second of the game. Once again, 5-2 here for the Rangers. Eric Gustafsson had a surprisingly good game, too. He has 3 assists in this one. Matthews with the 2 goals. Blake Wheeler with 2 assists of his own. Again, very entertaining, this one. Would love to see this as a playoff series down the road if possible. In this round, though, the Rangers win it 5-2. In the battle of orange, white, and blue, the Islanders taking on the Edmonton Oilers, and Edmonton did strike first in this one pretty early. Leon Draisaitl scoring just a minute and 23 seconds into the game, but from there it was mostly the Islanders, man. They didn't get a ton of shots. Stuart Skinner faced only 21, while Sorokin faced 31, but in the second, Anders Lee, Bo Horvat, and Simon Holmstrom are the 3 goal scorers, and that is exactly how the score would stand through the third period. A 3-1 final for the Islanders, who improved to 14-8-8, good for third in the Metro. The Edmonton Oilers continue their little skid here. They got to figure something out. They don't have a ton of time to just not accumulate points. They started very, very slow this year. They need to win as many games as possible if they want to make the playoffs. Right now, they stand 6th in the Pacific. Not a great night for Stuart Skinner. Not a great night for the Oilers as a whole. 3-1 victory for the Islanders. The Canucks taking on the Nashville Predators, and this game was also pretty entertaining. However, the Preds lose their hot streak in this one. Canucks win this one by a score of 5-2. The goal scorers for Vancouver: Pettersson, Amon, Hoglander, Suter, and Bluger, so pretty well-rounded stuff there. The assists go the same way: Mikheyev, Suter, Hughes, Hronek, Mikheyev, Pettersson, and Hughes again. For the Preds, just Lozon and Glass with the 2 goals. Cody Glass's first goal of the year. I honestly don't know whether he's been injured, scratched, etc., but nonetheless, Saros with a kind of rough effort here, 19 of 24. Casey DeSmith, 26 of 28, a 5-2 win for the Canucks. The Avs taking on the Blackhawks, and I really can't figure this team out. Their record is so good, but some of their efforts are just not there, man. They lose this one to Chicago, the worst team in the league, arguably, 3-2. They do outshoot them 37-22, but Georgiev just not quite good enough. Peter Mrazek has these performances where he just goes crazy once in a while. Tonight was one of those. He stops 35 of 37. Georgiev stopping just 19 of 22. The goal scorers for Chicago: Donato, Reichel, and Tyler Johnson. Connor Bedard continues his fantastic rookie season, collecting 2 assists. For the Avs, it's Val Nichushkin with both goals, both on the power play. If you took him in fantasy, you are laughing your way to the top of the standings in whatever league you're playing in. Nonetheless, a tough loss for the Avs in regulation to one of the worst teams in the league in Chicago, 3-2 for the Hawks. The Sens taking on the Coyotes in the first game since the firing of now ex-head coach DJ Smith, and the Sens looked good in the first. 3 goals from Cruikshank, Norris, and Kubalik makes it 3-0 after 1, but the wheels start to fall off after the first period here. The Sens end up being the first team to have fired their head coach this season and not lose the first game following that event. Of course, the Oilers firing DJ Smith, they win their next game. For the Wild, Dean Evison, they win their next game, and most recently, Craig Berube gets fired from the Blues, and they win their next few games. In this case, though, for the Sens, they do not end up winning this one, blowing a 3-0 first period lead. In the second, Jack McBain scores to make it 3-1, still in favor of the Sens. But in the third, J.J. Moser, Clayton Keller, and Michael Kessering, which is his second goal of the year, which ends up being the game winner in this one, a 4-3 win for the Yotes. Jonas Korpisalo just not quite good enough. He stops 34 of 38. Definitely the busier of the 3 goalies because Connor Ingram was pulled after the first period, but Karel Vejmelka comes in relief, stops 16 of 16, and gets himself the win here. A tough one for the Sens, who just look further and further like they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year, which is quite disappointing considering the expectations they had coming in, but nonetheless, 4th regulation win for the Yotes, who look like they're trying to push for a spot in the Central or a wild card spot in the West, but for the Sens, just not looking too great right now. The final game of the night, the LA Kings taking on the San Jose Sharks, and this one's coming at you live from the office parking lot because I was not staying up to watch the Kings finish out the Sharks. This one's a 4-1 final for Los Angeles. Dave Riddick with the win in this one, stopping 15 of just 16 San Jose Sharks, while LA got like 39. It was 3-0 after the first. Kopitar, Trevor Moore, and Alex Laferriere. And then in the third period, Trevor Lewis with his 5th of the year, I believe, makes it 4-0 LA before Jacob McDonald scores the 1 for San Jose, ruining the shutout bid. Not really too much to talk about in this one. LA's the better team. They get the W. San Jose continues to do San Jose things. A 4-1 final for the Kings. And that's it for NHL regular season recap night 69. We'll talk to you tonight, just 3 games for night 70.